Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this box and also the decoration. I'm going to do another box base in Blushing Bride, but I'm changing the designer series paper on the top. So to start with, the card pieces you're going to need: one piece for the base, which is going to be the larger piece. That measures 8 1/4 inches by 7 1/4 inches, which is 21 by 18.4 centimeters. And then another piece of cardstock which measures 7 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches, which is 18.4 by 15.8 centimeters. A piece of Whisper White which measures 3 1/8 inches by 4 1/8 inches, which is 7.9 by 10.4 centimeters. A piece of designer series paper, and this one comes from Blooms and Bliss, and this measures 3 inches by 4 inches, which is 7.6 by 10.1 centimeters. You'll need a 1-inch circle. Doesn't really matter what colour it is. I've just taken the same as my Blushing Bride. You will need a strip of designer series paper which measures 1 inch by 12 inches, which is 2.5 by 30.5 centimeters. And sorry, that circle should be 2.5 centimeters. I'm using a contrasting designer series paper for my decoration on this box. And you will also need some designer series paper which measures approximately 2 inches by 5 inches. I've got a couple of scraps here, but I'm planning to do my flower windmill type thing, the round bit, in the dark colour, and the bow I'm planning to do in the lighter colour. This is another one that I did where I used a lighter DSP on the top in comparison to that one. Again, this is from Blooms and Bliss, but on this one I used the cardstock, the same colour as the box, for the bow. So they're just different options that you have. And then you will also need one of our beautiful doilies, which is white on one side and very vanilla on the other. So that one I've done the very vanilla, and this one I'm going to be doing the white. So what we will do to start off with, I think, is use the scoreboard. No, we won't. We're going to start off with the trimmer. And to make a box lid fit nicely, the difference in the sizing for the top and the bottom is 1/16 of an inch, which is a very difficult measurement to deal with. So a great tip from Stampin' Up, I think it was actually Bonnie who did the video on this one. Right, so the larger piece is the base, and what you need to do is you need to cut off a very small piece on 2 adjoining sides. So if you do that side, and you need that side as well. Okay, so what you need to cut off is that there is the cutting channel on your trimmer, and then the next line to it is where this comes out. Okay, so there's one line where this bit comes out and your cutting line, and this you need to put past the cutting line but not right by the line where that actually comes out. Okay, so there's, I can still get my paper piercer in that groove, but my cardstock is very close. Now I'll cut this off and you'll see how much you should finish up with. Okay, so you see that much there. Now you need to cut on a side that is adjacent to that side that we've just cut. So if you turn your cardstock 90 degrees clockwise, then we're going to do the same on this side. So I've gone past the cutting groove, which is that one there, and that is where this cutting piece comes out. So I'm going up close to that line there, and I'm going to cut that off as well. Okay. Right, now we will use the trimmer. And first of all, I'm going to score the two pieces for the box. Let me get my measurements here. And I didn't sort out my centimetres, but that should be quite easy, shouldn't it? I think, well, it will be on this one. That will be 1.25 and that will be 2.5. Right, I will make sure that the score lines are on the screen. So first of all, for the large piece, let's come up a bit furry. I think I need to change my blade. That's all going to get folded in, so I'm not unduly worried about it. Right, so on your larger piece, what you need to do is to score at 1 inch and 2 inch on all four sides, which on metric should be 1.25 and 2.5 centimetres. So that is 1 inch, 2 inches, turn 90 degrees, 1 inch, 2 inches, turn 90 degrees, 1 inch, 2 inches, turn 90 degrees, 1 inch and 2 inches. And we'll put that to one side. Now on this piece we need to score at 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches. Now these are the ones that I don't know the measurements in. In fact, I think I've given you the wrong measurements anyway, haven't I, for the 1 and 2. I'll correct that on the screen. So you need to score at 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches on all four sides. So that's 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches. Now while I have my scoreboard here, I'm going to bring this piece over. Now this is what's going to make our little medallion type thing here. I'm not sure what the correct name for it is. I'm going to call it a medallion. So what we need to do is to score this at every 1/4 of an inch. But what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to score at every 1/2 an inch, and then we're going to flip the paper over to do the 1/4 of an inch bits. So to start off with, which way do I need this? I don't think it really matters, does it? It does because of that, but don't worry. Yep, okay. Let's start off with, make sure that you're using your thicker end of your embossing, your score tool, because this is paper, and if you press too hard or you use the thin end, you can tear the paper, you could go straight through. So be gentle with this. So I'm going to start at 1/2 an inch and 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and then do that all the way down. 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8.5, 9, 10.5. Sorry, jumped one there, didn't I? Right, now you need to turn your paper over this way. Okay. Now we're going to do it at 1/4 inch and 3/4. And the first bit is a little bit of an effort, so that's 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches, 2 3/4 inches, 3 1/4 inches, 3 3/4, 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, 8 1/4, 8 3/4, 9 1/4, 9 3/4, 10 1/4, 10 3/4, 11 1/4, and 11 3/4. Right, so that's all we need for the scoring. And seeing as how we've just been working with the this piece, the easiest way I find to fold this is, first of all, I fold, I've got the mountain as a second fold here, and that's facing me, and that has to be folded inside. So I'm going to fold and just squeeze. I'm not using a bone folder, and then I'm going to go down and fold on all of the mountain folds here. I just find that, although it's a little bit time consuming, I find it easier, and also it gives you a chance to make sure that each one is getting lined up correctly, so you can make sure that it's not going wonky. And some designs are definitely a lot easier to do than others. All I'm doing is I just put my finger now by that fold and apply a little bit of pressure, and it folds quite nicely. As you can see, it will start curling around. But that's okay. If you want, you can always turn around the other way, because you know that you're dealing with all the mountain folds at the moment. So you won't go out of sync. I think this must be the last one. Yep. Yep, that looks like it. Now I'm going to turn this over and do the same on the mountains that I've got on this side. Well, they're quite easy to see on this one. And again, it gives me a chance to make sure that it's all lining up nicely. My plan is to use the darker side for my flower, but once I have it folded, I will check both sides to see which one I think is going to look better on my lighter designer series paper. I can't imagine this lighter one will look best, but you never know. I have to remain open-minded about these things. Oh, come on, where have you gone? Oh, there you are. That's it. Right, let's turn it round and go the other way. We're nearly there. I will be sticking this all together by using my glue gun, which is sitting there heating up nicely for me. There we go, that's all done now. So what I need to do now is just to fold this up like that, and because I've done all the bits, it should be nice and easy, and it should stay in a straight line. It will eventually go wonky just because of the amount of cardstock there is there. You see, that's so easy. I think it's worth taking the time to fold it. Oops, she says. Let's try that again without saying anything. Right, there we go. Now, first of all, what we need to do is join the two ends together. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to adhere mine. I put this mountain over that mountain. I just think it gets a neater finish. Otherwise, you're going to finish up with one side is going to have the edges showing, but if you've adhered them down like that, there aren't any edges, or at least they're stuck down. So let's get Tombow on the go. So I do that side of the mountain and that side. And then put that mountain on top. Just give it a few seconds to get a grip. Right, now, just so that I can see what this is going to look like, that's going to be the top of my lid. Now my flower, or medallion rather, is going to look like that, or it's going to look like that. And I think that's going to look better on there. And then what I'm planning is, I think I'm going to do a light coloured bow like that on top here. That's the plan. Right, so what you need to do now with this, you need your 1-inch circle. Oh, here we go. I'm going to use my silicone mat, and I'm going to get my glue gun, just put some glue on there. That's it. Now, there is a knack to doing this, and I used to have it, but I don't appear to have it anymore. So what you have to do is you need to get this sitting onto that, and I used to be able to get my fingers in the right position to just carry it over, but as you can see I have a bit of a fight now. So what I do, just pinch it all together, get it over. You do have a bit of time when you're working with hot glue, fortunately. So get it in position. There's absolutely no telling where my circle is right now. I just hope it's in place to get a grip on my medallion. Just give it a few seconds for the glue to cool down, and oh, that's not doing very well at all. It's the first time that's ever happened. Maybe I'm being impatient. Okay, let's just give it a few minutes. No, that's still not doing it, is it? Okay, let's try that again. I don't know why it's not. But I'm going to try another piece of cardstock. Just a moment while I get another piece. And my 1-inch punch. I really don't know why it's done that. Right, let's try again. Maybe I talked too long last time. That's always possible. Right, let's get that down. Well, that looks more like it. It's oozing through the hole again. This is what happened earlier on to me. I feel that the glue is still warm. Oh, it's got stuck. Oh, that's a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side now while we make our box. Okay, so let's start with the base first. And what we need to do is, with the cardstock landscape, we're going to cut up this second score line from the right hand side and up the second score line on the left hand side, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So let's do that first. These we need nice straight lines because these are going to be the ends of your box. Okay, so you're cutting on the landscape side. Right, okay, now what we need to do is remove these two. So we're going to do this as a slight mitre going over to the corner. Okay, so that's gone at an angle. And then I'm going to do a slight mitre there. I'm not going to do too much on that one because that's part of the side of the box. And I'm going to do the same on this side. This is the flap that's going to stay. That's going to be coming off. So I want to do a mitre on that side. And then a mitre on this side of the tab up to where the score lines cross, and then a very slight mitre up to there to cut those two off. Right, and I didn't do the mitre on that side, did I? Okay, so you should have it so that you've got the tab this line here on this side is a nice straight line, but that side you need it at an angle, and that side, and the same on that one as well. So now we're going to do exactly the same on this side. So first of all, to remove these two, we're going to cut at an angle on this side up to where the score lines cross, turn round and a very slight mitre to remove those two pieces, and then to come back again and do a mitre on this. It's almost like just cutting off the actual score line, the dip. It doesn't have to be massive. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to cut these two off. So mitre from this side up to where the two score lines cross, and then just a slight mitre there, and then again mitring on this tab piece. Right, that looks good. Now we've got these here where they've gone very slightly mitred. Now we've got to do just this piece here, not both of them, just this top piece, because this is part of the side of the box which is going to fold over, and I just want to make sure it's folding over nicely. So that's all I've cut off on that one, and that's all I'm going to do on these as well. Okay, so there's that one. Oops, a little bit more than that. And then that one as well. Okay, so there's that one. Now let's do exactly the same to this one. Have it landscape. This is the second line we're going to be cutting on, and the second line there. So a nice straight line first. Right, now we're going to remove the two. So that's a slight mitre up to where the two score lines meet, and a very, very slight mitre there. And then we want a mitre on the other side of this tab. And the same again here, we want to remove these two and mitre towards where the two score lines join. And then mitre on the tab. Same here, I'm going to cut these two off. Mitre to where the two score lines cross, very slight mitre next, and then we're going to mitre on the other side of the tab. And the last one, we're going to take these two off, so mitre to where the two score lines cross, and a very, very slight mitre there. And then we're going to mitre this tab as well. Now the last 4 cuts we're going to do is on that end and that end, that end and that end, just a very small mitre. And it's only on the first section, up to the first score line on both ends. You only need a very little bit there, and then turn it over and do the other side. Okay, so get rid of all this rubbish. Now fold on all your score lines. Get yourself really nice crisp creases. When you fold the tabs over, you don't need to fold on that one halfway. That one there. Just that one that is down there, that's all. There we go, that's one. So then we can do the second one. The reason I'm doing the lid smaller is because the box has got the double sides. It's not ideal to put finger notches in them. It can be done, but it's much better to have your box so that it's shorter like this. I mean, I've done it on this one, and mine's holding together, but mine's been done with Tombow, so there's glue all over that, whereas if you've used say fast fuse, you could punch it like that and find that the bit that you've done your finger notch doesn't actually have any fast fuse on it. Right, there we go. Now I am going to start gluing this. You don't have to use Tombow, I just find that it's the best. And all I'm doing is I'm putting glue on all 4 tabs. And I'm going to bring the first tab up to the side, and I'm going to make sure that I've got a really nice corner there. Just give it 2 or 3 seconds for Tombow to get a grip, and then move on to the next one. Make sure that gets a nice corner. And then the next one. Right, okay, so now just fold these 4 back and put more Tombow on. I'm going to just touch that side. Right, I suggest you fold over the flaps that are going over the tabs first. Crikey, I didn't push that down far enough, did I? if you can't fold it over nicely, then you know that you haven't put your tab down correctly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat because it won't be seen. I'm going to cut part of it off. Okay, there's a little cheat for you. That's better. And then that one. And then the two ends. And what I like to do is to take my bone folder, take the pointed end, and then just slot it along to make sure it all adheres down nicely. That side just popped up. Okay, so that's all of that done. So that's the lid. If you get any little bits sticking out like that, you can just cut those off. That's it. Right, so that's my lid. Now I'm going to do exactly the same with my base. And this time I'll pay more attention to what I'm doing. Right, bring the tabs up, make sure they're nice and square. Just have a look on the inside, make sure that's going okay. You don't want to do my mistake, even though you know how to get out of it if you do. And then the third one. And then the fourth one. That's it. And now fold these back. More Tombow. Again, fold the long sides over, so you're going over the tabs first. That's that side. That one. That one. And number 4. And again, use your bone folder, point in first. Make sure it's all adhered down beautifully. And also reinforce your fold as well. There we go. Now, as long as you cut off the right amount when we were using our trimmers earlier, this will fit nicely. Yes. Okay. Brilliant. So I'm pleased with that. I'm going to leave the box put together while I put these on. And again, I'm using Tombow, but you might want to use fast fuse for this, or the tear and tape. put this one on top. I don't think I want that, do I? No, it's too busy. There we go, so that's going to be going on there. That looks nice, yes, pleased with that. So I'm going to put my little doily on there, and then I'm going to put that on. Got glue all over myself. Right, first of all let's do this. Let's bring my silicone mat back again. Now I'm putting Tombow on these little half moons, and I'll do some in the centre. Just round that flower, and just try and do a little bit on the points of all of the these sections. And make sure you put your glue on the right side. I think that looks central. Then I'm going to pop that on there. I'm not going to use my glue gun for this. Just put Tombow on the back there. Just apply a bit of pressure for a little while. Right, that can be sitting there. Now I'm thinking that a bow in that will look quite nice. So let's give that a go. I have the bow builder punch or builder bow punch, and you need to punch this out twice. You don't need that bit twice, just one of those, but you do need the others. Which way did I do that? There we go. Obviously still had bits from the other bow in here. Right, so first thing we need to do is to curl all our pieces. Let's get rid of those. So I have my pencil here. So there's that one. Oops. Just to give them a couple little runs around your pencil. Yes, your pencil, that'll be fine. And it's worth doing this little one as well. Right, we're going to put this together using glue dots. So I'm going to put one on either end of one on the end of each of these. I'm going to put one on the inside of these. So before I close these two together, I always make sure that I'm doing it around my pencil, and I sort of gradually twist it. What I don't want to happen is for when I squeeze it together, I don't want to get a fold in this. Okay, so that keeps it all nice and round. There we go, that's kept that one nice and round as well. Now I'm going to put one of these onto each of these. I've got so much glue on my fingers and everything. I'm getting stuck. Let's bring that round this way. Okay, so those are on top of each other. Now I'm going to put a glue dot to hold those two. So I put that there. I pop that on. Then I'm going to put another one on the top here, and that's going to hold this in place. And then I'm going to put one on each end of that piece as well. I think that should be enough glue dots. Okay, so this just makes the bow look all nice and tidy. I don't know what that is. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so now that I've done that, I find it easier to get this bit over using my tweezers. Okay, so now I need to pop it onto here. So I think that looks quite nice, don't you? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use Tombow to adhere the bow onto my medallion. So I'm just going to put some Tombow there. Might as well stick that bit down while I'm here. Make sure I don't have any problems with that later. Right, just apply a bit of pressure underneath there as well. There we go. Now I just need a pearl to go on the top here to finish it off, and then that is it. We are done. I think possibly the medium-sized pearl would have been better, but I've only got the large ones and small ones, and the small were, well, they just look very silly. So there we go. That's today's project. I hope you like this, and I hope you give it a try. I'm very pleased with how this has come out, and as you can see, different options, same DSP for your bows and medallion, or you use cardstock to match up with this, different DSP but matching that one, all sorts of options. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any comments to make or any questions, please leave them in the box below or email me at janb@janbcards.com. I'm always happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, not the glue gun, we don't sell those, I'm afraid. If you click on the link in the box below, that'll take you straight to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you've enjoyed the video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally on Wednesdays and Sundays, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, just by clicking on the subscribe button, you'll be notified. Finally, I will be putting all the measurements and products I've used on the screen. Depending on which device you're watching on, you may not be able to see the writing, so I will put it in the box below. So under the video where it says show more, if you click on that, the box will open and it will show you all the information that I'm going to put down there for you. So there we go. I hope you give it a try. I hope you like this. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.